I think she hates him.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Okay, so we can all
That's a
agree on
given.
that. That's a given. I also think that she wants to take him out.
Critics are going hard after a liberal media member for vile comments about Melania Trump.
She does not want to be the first lady anymore.
They agree with you.
She doesn't want to be the first lady.
Individual freedom is a fundamental principle that I safeguard.
Who hates Christmas? Melania Trump hates Christmas. She doesn't want to decorate for Christmas. She doesn't want anything to do with it.
They said she hated her husband, that she couldn't stand being first lady, and even hinted at something far more sinister. Those words weren't whispered in private. They were broadcast to millions on one of America's most watched talk shows. Now Melania Trump is fighting back with a staggering $100 million lawsuit against The View. But this isn't just a celebrity squabble. It's a courtroom clash that could forever change how the media talks about public figures. What sparked this legal firestorm? And what's really at stake? Stay with us as we uncover the explosive details behind the headlines. A lawsuit this massive doesn't appear out of thin air. It stems from a recent episode of The View, where several co-hosts expressed their strong opinions about Melania Trump's marriage.
She doesn't want to sleep in the same room with him. She can't tolerate him.
Allegedly.
And she doesn't.
Yeah, how do you know all this?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know all this.
Allegedly. That's why I say allegedly.
Motives, and even her emotions. One of the most explosive suggestions was that Melania despised her husband so thoroughly that she wanted him out of her life. They also claimed she resented her duties as First Lady from the start. Imagine hearing these accusations on live television if you're the one being discussed. The remarks were personal, direct, and undeniably harsh. According to the public court filings, Melania Trump is seeking $100 million in damages for defamation, arguing that these statements crossed a line from personal opinion into harmful, reputation-altering falsehoods. The stakes are enormous, and the suit immediately grabbed headlines as lawyers for both sides prepared for a battle royale in the courtroom. But why take this issue to court at all? After all, public figures face constant criticism, some true, some baseless. The answer seems to hinge on the deeply personal nature of the remarks. Melania's legal team contends that such a blatant attack on her marriage and character goes beyond casual commentary. They argue that pushing the narrative that she wants to take her husband out paints Melania as someone harboring violent or malicious intentions. If proven false, those words could be considered dangerously defamatory, especially coming from a highly visible show with millions of viewers. Melania Trump isn't typically known for knee-jerk responses. She's often portrayed, fairly or not, as a private individual with a controlled public image. So what prompted this unusually prompt lawsuit? Observers point to the nature of The View's statements, describing them as not just idle chatter, but a purposeful attack on her loyalty, her emotional well-being, and her personal decisions. Insiders say that the timing also matters. The Trump family remains in a near-constant spotlight, with Donald Trump's own legal challenges dominating the airwaves. Some speculate that Melania's move may be partially strategic. It repositions her narrative from quiet bystander to a lead figure taking charge of her own reputation. For someone portrayed in the past as reluctant or apathetic, this legal action signifies a bold shift. She's had enough, and she's not letting these claims slide. The speed of her lawsuit has caught media outlets off guard. Typically, public figures issue a statement condemning false allegations or might even ignore them, hoping the storm passes. Melania's approach is a surefire signal that she plans to protect her image at any cost. Some see it as a direct message to other commentators: if you cross a line, be prepared to face consequences in court. To understand the heart of this $100 million legal fight, you need to grasp exactly what was said. The View hosts didn't pull punches when discussing Melania's time in the White House. They claimed she destroyed the Rose Garden and offered that she hates Christmas, referencing rumors about her less than enthusiastic approach to holiday decorating duties. While many watchers shrugged off those remarks as comedic hyperbole, it was the suggestion that she despised her husband to the point of wanting him gone that raised eyebrows and legal alarms. Beyond that, remarks circulated about Melania's personal preferences, from her White House redecoration projects to her involvement, or lack thereof, in Christmas traditions. Critics on social media erupted. Some sided with The View, saying the hosts were simply voicing what many Americans believed. Others felt the statements were a dangerous form of character assassination. The controversy grew so large that it overshadowed typical daytime TV drama, placing The View on the defensive and making Melania's next move a subject of intense anticipation. Filing a defamation lawsuit is no small matter, especially for someone with the prominence of a former First Lady. It's a complex legal process that requires proving the statements made were false, damaging, and potentially malicious. Melania's legal team argues that The View's claims about her marriage and personal resentments are fabricated narratives intended to boost ratings at her expense. In defamation suits involving public figures, the threshold is high. Melania's attorneys will have to demonstrate that the hosts knew or should have known that these accusations were false and still push them forward. Whether the co-hosts truly believe their statements or were merely engaging in exaggerated banter remains to be seen. If The View can argue that their remarks were opinion-based speculation, it might complicate Melania's case. Opinion, even if harsh, often enjoys broader legal protections than an outright statement of fact. Yet the sheer scale of the claim, $100 million, shows that Melania is not interested in a gentle slap on the wrist for her critics. If successful, the judgment would be a sweeping rebuke of talk show culture that often blurs the line between commentary and personal attacks. It's also a stark warning to other media outlets. Watch what you say, or face colossal legal consequences. Whether this is a valid stand against unchecked gossip or a chilling threat to free speech is precisely the debate swirling in media and legal circles. At the core of this debate lies a complicated question. How far can commentators go before crossing the line into defamation? Under U.S. law, public figures are typically granted less protection from scrutiny than private citizens, precisely because they wield influence and voluntarily occupy the spotlight. But does that justify every harsh remark or rumor? Melania's lawsuit places a spotlight on the intersection of First Amendment rights and personal dignity. Shows like The View thrive on sharp opinions, cultural critiques, and spirited debates. That's part of their appeal. However, these new legal developments might prompt media personalities to ask themselves if their commentary could have serious ramifications. If a line is drawn too conservatively, some fear a chilling effect. Outspoken hosts might hesitate to voice strong opinions about public figures. On the other hand, supporters of Melania's lawsuit argue that talk show banter is veering into reckless territory. Public figures shouldn't have to endure statements that suggest malicious personal motives or violent intentions without any proof. To them, holding The View accountable isn't just about punishing a few sensational remarks. It's about setting an example that personal attacks lacking evidence shouldn't be cloaked as entertainment. In that sense, this lawsuit isn't purely about money. It's about recalibrating the conversation around the private lives of famous individuals. Donald Trump's presidency exposed deep divides within the American public. The polarized climate has left his supporters and critics ready to pounce on any new controversy. Melania's lawsuit lands squarely in this context, with both sides interpreting her move through a political lens. Critics say this is typical Trump drama, intended to distract from Donald's ongoing legal battles or controversy. Others contend that Melania is genuinely tired of the unrelenting speculation about her marriage and motivations. The View has long been critical of the Trump administration's policies and personalities, so these comments about Melania fell into a broader pattern of confrontation. Even so, the scale of this lawsuit is jaw-dropping. $100 million is more than a symbolic gesture. It's a financial salvo that could shake up daytime television. If Melania prevails, it might embolden other political figures or their spouses to take similar action when they believe commentary crosses the line into defamation. All of this unfolds against the backdrop of Donald Trump's own controversies, from legal battles to campaign rallies. Some observers speculate that Melania's timing aims to carve out her own platform. By taking decisive action, she exerts control over her story, distancing herself from the perception that she is merely riding Donald Trump's coattails. Whether or not that's her true intention, the lawsuit's political subtext is hard to ignore. While the lawsuit plays out in legal briefs and court motions, the public conversation has its own momentum. On social media, opinions are split. Some find The View's comments too personal, labeling them as gratuitous hate, directed at a woman who rarely speaks publicly about her private life. Others see it as routine daytime TV chatter, insisting that Melania is overreacting to standard celebrity commentary. Among media insiders, there's growing debate about whether talk shows should consider more rigorous fact-checking or disclaimers when making bold statements about a public figure's personal life. Critics argue that sensational remarks drive ratings and online shares, but at the cost of truth and respect. In that sense, Melania's lawsuit may prompt producers and hosts to ask, where do we draw the line? And how do we ensure heated debates don't devolve into reckless speculation? Despite the polarized opinions, there's one undeniable fact. This lawsuit has propelled Melania back into the spotlight. People are revisiting her track record, from her stated positions on social issues to her carefully curated public appearances. Some notice a new side of her. Whether that shapes her future public role remains to be seen, but it has definitely shifted the conversation about who Melania Trump is and how she wishes to be portrayed. As the legal drama intensifies, legal analysts are busy dissecting the potential consequences. If Melania wins, the damages could be astronomical, both financially and in terms of the View's credibility. Such a victory might also send a clear message to other talk shows, podcasts, and news outlets. Unverified or speculative claims about personal matters carry serious risks. On the flip side, if The View successfully defends itself, it could embolden media personalities to continue pushing boundaries, reinforcing the principle that strong opinions about public figures are protected speech. That outcome would reassert the robust freedom of expression in the United States. But it could also fuel more heated and personal commentary in an already divided political landscape. This conflict illustrates just how precarious the balance between free speech and defamation law can be. Too much restraint may stifle honest discourse. Too little restraint can ruin reputations with reckless speculation. The question becomes, who decides what's fair commentary and what's too harmful to allow? Judges and juries may soon provide some clarity, but public opinion will inevitably shape the aftermath as well. So, do you think Melania's right to sue for $100 million? Or do you see this case as a slippery slope for free expression? Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into today's most talked about controversies. Stay informed, and we'll see you next time.